Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we have another issue review. Today we're looking at Transformers number 18 by Danny Warren Johnson with art by Jorge Corona and colors by Mike Spicer. And this is a great issue. I really enjoyed this one. I think that the kind of situation between Cybertron and Earth is kind of getting kind of crazy. It's really, really exciting. I really like it. And, you know, there is kind of a bittersweet feeling to this because every time that we get another awesome issue, it means we're closer to the end, right? When Danny Warren Johnson is no longer a member of the Transformers team, right? He said he was going to do 24 issues or 25 issues, I think, and that was going to be it, right? And I worry that after that, this series is going to drop in quality, right? I mean, I'm sure it won't. But what does that mean for Void Rivals? What does that mean for Transformers, right? This has been pretty self-contained. It does include G.I. Joe characters here and there every once in a while, but broadly speaking, it's pretty irrelevant to the rest of the Void Rivals stuff, right? I think most of that is happening in the Void Rivals series and actually in the G.I. Joe series, right? So when Danny Warren Johnson leaves, will that mean that Transformers becomes much more tied to that stuff because they'll get someone that wants to play ball? Or will it mean that it just kind of keeps going, but it doesn't really follow with what Danny Warren Johnson is doing, right? Is there a possibility that Danny Warren Johnson decides he wants to continue beyond this or not really? I'm not really sure. And that kind of worries me a little bit. I don't know if I'll read Transformers after Danny Warren Johnson leaves, because at this point with this team that we have here, you know, Danny Warren Johnson, Jorge Corona, and Mike Spicer, I'm really loving this stuff. I think it's phenomenal. It's, you know, some of the best Transformer stuff that I've ever consumed. And I wonder if this is going to be a very limited window in time where this stuff is as good as it is, right? So yeah, enough of that. Let's get into the story here. So it opens up on Cybertron. We have the Autobots pinned down by the Decepticons, right? And these are kind of like the fourth, fifth stringer Decepticons. And so the Autobots losing here actually just kind of shows how messed up they are, right? The war has ravaged them deeply, horribly, and you know, excessively, right? And as they're getting pinned down, suddenly the kind of you know, flow of the battle changes. And that's because Shredhead, the new character that Danny Warren Johnson introduced recently, shows up. And they come in and they kick the ass of the Decepticons. They kill them all. And Elita is deeply moved by this. She sees that she has finally found new blood, that she has found hope or value with the introduction of Shredhead, a new character that is not bogged down by centuries of war, right? And this character is an amalgamation of Cliffjumper's family and Carly's old car, right? Her van, right? And so this kind of represents all of Cliffjumper's family, but it also represents kind of humanity in some ways, right? And so there's this kind of really interesting kind of concept here, which is that maybe the way to defeat the Decepticons is for humans, good humans, right, and Autobots to work together, right? This is what Shredhead kind of symbolizes. So I thought that was really cool. I quite liked it. Then we transition over to Earth. We see in on the San Juan Islands, which I think are supposed to be off the East Coast, the West Coast at some point. I assume that they're near California, but this stuff happens in the Pacific Northwest, right? So I'm not exactly sure where they really are. But the kids get Magnus to calm down a little bit, right? Carly kind of tells him, you know, I'm a small, squishy human, and you're this massive dude with these humongous guns. Like, there's nothing that can hurt you here. Relax, you know, calm down. Relax, you know, be at peace, right? And he kind of does start to relax, and then in the distance, human soldiers start showing up. And these don't seem to be G.I. Joe characters, at least not recognizable ones. This seems to be more like U.S. military, like normal U.S. military. And as they approach, Ultra Magnus freaks out because he is like dealing with like insane World War II levels of POW, like PTSD, right? Like he has been a prisoner of war for so long under the hands of like the most horrifying Decepticon ever, right? And he is deeply afraid, right? And so he freaks out when the humans show up. Carly gets shot by a tranquilizer dart, and then as they try to escape, Magnus starts fighting the military, right? And as he's doing this, the Autobots that are there, RC and Beachcomber, have to find a way to escape while minimizing the damage and also trying to get Ultra Magnus to calm down. The thing is that this doesn't really work, and the military manages to take out Ultra Magnus. Now, the way they did that seems a bit too easy, right? I feel like a freaked out Ultra Magnus, as hopped up on crazy as he is, would be a very difficult opponent to take down. And because of the compressed nature of the comic book, it feels like it was quite easy to do, right? And we've seen in the movies that it's actually pretty hard to take down a Transformer, although it is, doable, right? So I don't know. I felt that it happened a bit too quickly, and also it's kind of unclear, is he knocked out or is he dead, right? It's kind of unclear, what's happening there. But the kids managed to escape, so that's good. We transition over to Seattle, where we see the Combiners are fighting, and the Autobots are trying to help humans escape. At this point, Soundwave throws Rumble, one of his cassette tape characters, and knocks Astrotrain out of the air by having Rumble kind of cut through one of his wings, right? And Astrotrain is kind of this like space shuttle looking robot, right? So he's not really aerodynamic to begin with, so I'm not really sure that him losing a wing would really make a difference, but he falls from the sky, and of course he's carrying Starscream with him, and so where they crash with a Combiner that thinks that Starscream is its fearless leader, tries to climb this giant skyscraper to go find him, and then the other Combiner comes along with him, and they climb the skyscraper. They're doing this King Kong fight throughout the whole thing, and then they end up throwing themselves off of it in kind of a wrestling move, and it's really awesome. I don't know what the wrestling move is called, but it looks freaking phenomenal, right? It's kind of one of those where like you have the other character's neck here, and you kind of go like this, right? And you throw yourself on the floor, and it's really awesome. It looks amazing. Jorge Corona does an amazing job with this, and Daniel Warren Johnson really shows his love for wrestling through a lot of the work that he does here. So it's very fun, and it looks awesome, and it was really, really insane, right? And so we have Soundwave versus Starscream in this kind of petty, stupid cat fight type battle, and as they're doing this, Megatron finally shows up, and he's like, shut the fuck up, calm down, we'll see what happens here, right? And it looks like Megatron has an evil version of the Matrix of Leadership, because I think it's Ravage, right? That's the dog one. He brings it closer to his chest opens, and then a purple glow heals it, right? And that's kind of what the Matrix of Leadership can do. And so that feels like Megatron has some sort of corrupted Matrix of Leadership, or he came up with a way to copy it or something. And this is pretty awesome, pretty interesting. And as he cares for Soundwave's tapes, he kind of gains control of the Decepticons again, and then Astrotrain gets angry. He starts flying towards Megatron, and the Autobots decide that it's time to go because Megatron is here, and that's concerning because that means that all of the Decepticons are finally going to fall in line, and that's bad for the Autobots, right? And so they decide to retreat, and they leave, and that's where the end of the issue is, right? And this was an amazing issue. It was so great. I loved it. The reintroduction of Megatron was great because we had seen him before, right? But this is when he finally shows up. And, it wasn't awesome or anything because he just kind of walked in. But at the same time, the ominous feeling that is coming is so exciting, right? So Daniel Warren Johnson knocked it out of the park. Jorge Corona's artwork is amazing. Mike Spicer did a great job with the colors. This is a 10 out of 10 comic book. I really loved it. So, but those are my thoughts on Transformers number 18. Let me know what you guys thought. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys next time.